Hey everybody, welcome back to Open Fire Tactical. I'm your host Buttonhole. Um, Working on some loads today, 30-30. I've had this rifle for probably 10 years. A friend of mine gave it to me and he didn't shoot it anymore. He was getting up there in age and it's brutal, to put it mildly. 30-30 it's got some horsepower behind it, that's for sure. But anyway, I was not really interested in this rifle at all. And I was grateful to have it, don't get me wrong. And I think it's cool, the nostalgia of it. This cartridge is like 130 years old ish. And quite honestly, I thought that it had reached its peak and then it kind of went by the wayside. And, apparently a lot of people are still using it for deer hunting. It's got great ballistics, good coefficiency, extremely comparable to a 308 in my estimation, and from other information that I've read about and watched videos on and gathered that intel from, it's the same as a 308 Winchester, believe it or not. 7.6239 too. It's right there. But the ballistic coefficiency of this bullet is, leaves a lot to be desired because of today's ballistics and better bullets. So better aerodynamics. They're flying way better. Hornady is cornered to market on 160 grain. It's called I believe it's called the Hammer. I can't remember, but anyway, just working on some loads. So I found a bunch of 30-30 casings out here on the range. It was all Federal, and I go, man, this is good brass. Now I have to buy reloading dies for a 30-30, and I'm going to have to take that guy off the wall and put some rounds through it and see where we're at. Excuse me. See where we're hitting. So I have a target at 50 yards. I put some through. They're Federal 170 grain 30-30, and this thing's, man, it's pretty brutal on the old shoulder, shooting it from the bench. But it's doing pretty okay, for an old rifle. And this is a William Cody commemorative 20-inch 30-30 Winchester rifle, 1894, I think. Yeah, cool old gun. But I'm real surprised that at 50 yards, they're about an inch apart or so. But for this rifle and for what it's really designed for, hunting, if you shoot a deer, I think the furthest you'd have to shoot it would be, under 200 reasonably, inside of 100 preferably. That's how I used to hunt, closer the better. If you see a deer, if you can get a little bit closer, put your stalking skills in check. Anyway, so I worked up some loads just by going by the Hornady reloading book. And I'm starting off with the low Winchester 748 powder, 32 grains. And I will work that up to 35.4 grains for a 150 grain bullet. And then it also called for BLC2. It actually calls for more powder for the same velocity. So anywhere from 1900 to 2200 feet per second. I don't have a chronograph, so I don't know. I'm just going by what Hornady says, 20-inch barrel and the powder charge. So I'm starting off with BLC2, which is the same powder I use in my 308. 35 grains, I'll do 37 grains, and then max out at 38 grains. And so we'll just see how they look. The target down there is a 5 diamond Caldwell orange peel target. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the shooting. I think that's boring. But I'll just give you the details afterwards, and I'll mark them down per load, and we'll see how they do or how well they don't do, and call it from there. All right, guys, once again, thank you again. Man, my subscribers have jumped up. I have 60 subscribers now. That's insane to me. Never did I think that I would get more than 5, and I had like 16 for a while, and then all of a sudden, boom, man, now it's up to 60. This is just crazy. It's crazy. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys very, very much. I appreciate you tuning in, and if you guys enjoy shooting as much as I do, man, I can't thank you enough, really. It really warms my heart. So anyway, let me get to shooting, and then I'll give you the results at the very end. All right. All right, well, we're downrange with the end results of the 30-30. Man, multiple shot groups here, but trying to figure out what works best for the 30-30. And so this is what you got to do. You got to figure out what your rifle likes. So my rifle, in all honesty, it likes the BLC2 35 grains with a 150 grain bullet, and that's this guy right here. 2 touching, 1 flyer. I use 2 powders, BLC2, and I use Winchester 748. 748 was pretty good with 34 grains right here. And then BLC2, this was my last group right here, and that was 38.1. That was this guy, 38.1, but 2 stacking and then a flyer. So if I had to guess, if I was going to load up the rest of this brass that I have, I think I'll go with BLC2, 35 grains and 150 grain bullet. I think that's the best. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Somebody else just pulled in on the range, so I'm no longer alone, and I just don't like to do videos with interruptions, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you all once again for tuning in. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you again. Take care.